unemployment in Nigeria is a problem that has been persisting and affecting people and their everyday life. Hello and welcome to The Gist on the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Folashade Famakiwa. On The Gist, we look at topical issues that affect people and the society. We look at the causes, effects, and solution. And of course, I have with me a guest that will be looking at this topical issue. He is a business consultant, Mr. Benga Ajibade. It's good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So we'll be looking at unemployment in Nigeria. So it's a persistent problem that have been affecting people. Can you give us an insight on what this unemployment is?
Unemployment, youth unemployment is not just a Nigerian thing. It's a global pain. And any nation that refuses to look at issues pertaining to their youths is just knocking at the door of extinction. And that's why it's important that we give it the right approach to make sure that we solve these anomalies in our society.
Okay, like you say, it's not here alone, but what is the current state, comparing it to like 10 years ago? What's the state of unemployment in Nigeria at the moment?
It's so bad. One of the causes of youth unemployment is when you have youths that are not available for employment. You can't employ people that are not available. And that talks about some of our youths they are unemployable. They don't have the skills, they don't have the education, they don't have the learning to solve the challenges of the modern world. Because one of the reasons why you have been employed is to solve problems, to solve the challenges that are out there. So if you don't have the skills, the needed skills in this century to solve those kind of problems, you become unemployable. So it's difficult for you to employ such a person. That's one of the reasons why you have so much of youth unemployment in our nation. Another reason is you can't employ someone and you have no place to put him. Where are the industries? Okay. We don't have them. We have so many graduates out there, but there's no place to put them. No organization, no company, no industry. There are no policies encouraging job creation. Most of these organizations are traveling out of this country, leaving this nation to another nation. So it's difficult for you to employ these youth, even if they have the skills. But when you don't have where to put them, it becomes And then another reason is that the policies, the government is not even helping. We are not creating that avenue for the creation of jobs. It's not there.
But they do some initiative. Do we say it's not sufficient?
It's not sufficient compared to the graduates that we have out there. It's not sufficient. It's not.
And they hardly employ these days. Gone were the days they announce on newspaper what could be the cause of all this?
Number one, they are not employed. They don't have the skills to solve the challenges of the modern world. Number two, there's bias. Discrimination is out there. Man, no man. A certain age. If you are not of this sex, you won't get this job. And
even quota from your states.
It's part of it. And it's very funny because let's look at this Nigerian factor. People go to school at the age of 18. You get an admission to university. You're expected to spend like 4 years. Now, 4 years plus
with all the strikes
making it 8 years. That's when you need to get
job experience.
They'll
still ask for job experience.
Where will you get the experience? Someone that is not employed. Where do you expect such a person to get the experience? So those are some of the problems we have. And then the people in there don't want to go out. You have somebody who has been there for ages. He's not even of retirement because of what is benefiting from there. So how do you expect the younger ones to come up? So it's so bad.
Okay, let's look at the educational aspects now. Someone going to the polytechnic is rest assured that when you come out, you'll be able to be a technical person, being effective in industries and all that. There's somebody that said he invited a boy from the polytechnic, a graduate, to come and operate some of his machine, that he was surprised that he couldn't do that. All that young man was focused on his salary. He was even stating a very huge amount of money, but he was not employable, like you say. What can be the cause of this?
You won't blame them. Let's go back to what we are being taught in school. I went to a polytechnic. In fact, that was the last time I went to the library. You would see books of
archaic books.
Books that are not relevant in our own generation. And some of the things we are being taught are things that are not relevant in our generation. So I expect someone like that to go out and solve problems. In fact, I was told that I won't mention the school. There was a time in a particular school where they decided we were taking them computer. There was no computer. It's so bad. So you expect someone like that who says he's a computer engineer who haven't even seen a computer. I expect somebody he can't perform. That's the truth. So we need to go back to the drawing board. Let's look at what we are feeding these people with. Go back to education, go back to our curriculum, and then begin to change things.
Assuming the government is not taking a drastic or immediate action, don't you think the youth should retrain themselves?
Well,
there are places you can, as a graduate, maybe computer engineer, you go and retrain yourself so that you be employable.
And you are right, but then it also boils to you having money. Because one of the problems of youth unemployment is poverty. One of the consequences.
Sure.
So when you don't have this money, how do you go for those trainings? It's not there. That's where the government comes in. Make these things free. You have the resources. You have the manpower. They make it free. Help those young ones to be able to take over from you tomorrow. So if those things are not there, it's a mirage. We'll just keep saying, we'll keep going around the circle, saying the same thing, experiencing the same thing. Look at nations like Japan or China. If you go to, you will see what they are doing. You know that
from kindergarten they started grooming.
They are ready
kids
to take over the world. And if we continue this way, very soon AI is taking over.
So how relevant will you be? So let's talk about the effects. The effect of these things.
Like I said, number one, poverty and financial instability. When you are not employed, of course, it takes a man who is employed to make, just like you said, the guy was talking about salary. So because he knows that, yes, I'm there to solve a problem, but then I also have a problem, and that problem can only be solved when I have money. So once we are not employed, you are poor. Financial instability is there. Number two, crime rate. Somebody who is unemployed would start thinking of, okay, how do I make ends meet? And that would lead to increase in crime rate. Number three, it could also lead to mental health disorder. Depression, anxiety, and social isolation. Because when you see your mates, there's this thing about you that, look, I can't go out there because I don't have what it takes to talk to my mates, to attend functions, family meetings and all that. So you go into your shell. These are some of the reasons. And then it also affects us economically because the youths are the driving force of every nation. And when the driving force of a nation is not being employed, then you are killing that nation. So it has its own negative effect on the economy. So these are some of the consequences, of unemployment.
Wow, it's so pathetic. Like I said at the beginning, that is affecting people and their everyday life. If you see the scenario these days in families, men are just angry, especially men that they don't have job to do. Maybe the wife is a breadwinner. Before different kind of disaster happening. How is this telling on our reputation as a country? It's giving us a very bad image, and that's why you find a lot of our youth are into fraudulent activities, the yahoo. Ladies are into hookups and all that, because of this unemployment, because of course they have to feed and they have to do something for them to have money. And that's why you find Nigeria being called the most corrupt nation in the world. One of the reasons why we are being corrupt is because some of our youths are thinking negatively. Somebody who has nothing to do, we start thinking, okay, how do I make ends meet? And then you start thinking of vices, putting your hands in things you shouldn't put your hands into, and everything. So it gives us a very bad image. Okay, don't you think this unemployment rate is because most people are focusing towards white-collar job alone? Because Nigeria is blessed. We have natural resources. So why don't they diversify into other forms of income making?
One of I can't employ, in quote, somebody who is blind or someone who is deaf. Opportunities fly around every day. But it takes
information.
It takes someone who is sensitive, who can pick this up. Let me give an example. let's assume there's a youth who has graduated and you're good in mathematics, very good, and then your neighbor complains about his or her child not being sound in mathematics. That's an opportunity. Now, a wise one would see that and say, look, instead of you going to somewhere else and look for a lesson teacher or something, I will start taking them mathematics. I will be their lesson teacher. I will be their tutor, and start tutoring them mathematics. Before you know it, as long as those students keeps doing well in their mathematics,
people will recommend them.
Referrals. And so that's the job. And as they keep doing that, you can have your own organization. You can start your own company. You can start your own tutorial center. So we need to be sensitive to these opportunities, information that flies around. But you see, when apart from that, when there are no enabling environment, these things, it's just a mirage, really. It's the youths of these days, of my own generation. A lot of us are not even looking for white collar jobs. Yes, because they know that the take home is not fantastic enough to meet the challenges out there. The economic challenges is there.
Then most of them want fast money. That's another problem.
That's and one of the reasons why you have that, because the economy is choking. Things are quite expensive.
But fast money is not the answer.
I'm not justifying fast money. I'm not. I'm just telling you reasons why you find people going for fast money.
The easy way.
The easy way out. I need to sort bills. There are bills to be sorted out. But I'm not in support of fast money and all that. But it's one of the reasons why we have those things on ground, because the unemployment rate is killing.
But the thing is, if you are looking for the easy way out, you will stay at that spot for a very long time, because that easy way is where everybody's going towards. Why don't you follow that narrow way that at the end of the day you will still get there? Now let me give you an instance of a young man. He learned how to make shoes. During his NYSC, he went for training and applied to World Bank. He was able to showcase what he could do, and by God's grace he got this loan. You need to see this young man, what he's making in Lagos. There he's doing very well, but he's a man that is contented, a young man because I studied him. He was one of my guests. I studied. He's not the lavish type. He was able to get a car, because mobility is very important, but not the flashy car. You need to see where he got his shop. His house was inside, just a low-key life. And as I'm telling you right now, he has opened so many outlets in different states. So contentment, sometimes I think our youth need to work on their mentality, and you've been able to work with some of them.
Yes, I have.
So how have you been able to motivate them?
Mentorship is very important. A lot of our leaders are not good mentors. They are not. You see a government official stealing billions of naira, and he's working free. And somebody, I don't know whether you heard about story, a young guy that stole this chicken or something and being jailed and all that. Now, these are what these people are looking at. Look, we are letting them know that going through the narrow way is not the way. So you are showing to them that, look, you just have to make it anyhow. And that's where the problem is. We don't have good leadership. There's no mentorship. There's no training. So it's important. Your life, our leaders have to. They're not just there. They should start seeing themselves as mentors, people that the youths can emulate. Look at the times of Awu. A lot of people wanted to be like Awu because he was a true mentor.
Even looking at mentorship, it's not all about leaders or politicians alone. Look at the family.
That's true.
If you are unemployed and maybe a family gathering, you will hardly have a say. You will hardly is that person that followed the shortcut that is cruising all the money that will be
that's it. That is the problem. That's one of the effects. That one of the causes social isolation and then mental health, because you can't fit in. You can't fit in. The government needs to come in. As much as we want the youths to run away from vices, the government needs to come in.
What do you suggest the government? Because they do so many initiatives. I'm sure you remember some of them, the End Power and all that, but some of them still remain unemployed. So what suggestion do you have?
Number one, we need to take away the bias and the discrimination. You don't have to come from a particular state. You don't have to know someone. Those things have to be put away. As long as
you're a Nigerian.
As long as you are qualified, you can get the job. So we need to work on that. And number two, our leaders must truly be leaders. They must lead by example. And let the youth see it in them. That look, leadership is all about service. You can learn from me, just like I said earlier. You can learn from me, you can gain something from me. These are some of the things we need as leaders to do. It's not just for them to just bring up programs, empower and all that. No, it's not. We must see it in you that, look, it's a lifestyle.
Not just for record purpose.
Not just for record purpose. Like during my time, I was one that did this and all that. No, we don't need all that. You know, you can't expect them to live a flashy life and then expect the youths to go through the pain of their own error. It's not possible. We need to set the pace. We need to be examples for these ones to follow.
Yeah, I see you impart use. So how do you go about it?
Like I said, number one, be a good example.
Okay.
It's important because people are looking at your life. They look at what you do than what you say. So you must be a good example. And then number two, we must have enough of trainings, motivations, trainings here and there. It will assist them. You know, apart from the education they are getting in school, there must also be something. That's why we hold youth empowerment programs, you know, where I get to talk to them once in a while, to encourage them, to also help them see that you don't have to go for collar jobs. You can create these opportunities. Just like I already said, you must have these ears to pick information. You must have eyes to see information, to see opportunities rather. So those things will also help. You know, it's just because bringing up programs and all that, it's not really about.
There's something I want to chip in: networking. If you have the right network, you get the right information.
Definitely.
That's just it. So I think they should surround themselves with the right kind of people. So how do you surround these people? How do you get to meet people like that?
Birds of a feather flock together. You know, for example, what I do, I go to places like churches, schools, you know, and I also study people. Because if I'm trying to help you, I must see that you also want to be helped. You know, there are some youths that don't really want to be helped. They just want to go on living their lives, doing the yahoo yahoo and all that. You know, so you have to show that you are serious about being helped. You know, and you know, coming up from this this evil that is, you know, plaguing the youth in our time.
So maybe like they are watching this unemployed youth and all that. So what will you tell them on how to manage their situation and get out of unemployment?
Number one, make sure that you're employable. It's important. Go for the skills. Go for the education. Improve on yourself. Upgrade. It's important because the century we're in is different from the centuries our parents were in. You know, things are becoming challenging day by day. So you need the skills to meet up with these challenges. Number two, it's important also that you open your ears, you know, and eyes to opportunities. It's all out there. It's out there. It's not all about the white collar jobs. Any opportunity, you have a skill, you can bake, you can cook. I told one of my cousins of recent that, you know, she's good. She knows how to cook. And she's been looking for jobs. I said, look, you don't need to go for white collar job. You have what it takes. Just start it. In fact, just was it yesterday? She was telling me that I'm starting my business and all that, you know, because she can cook. And
if you even utilize online, she will sell.
She will sell. I told her, I said, look, you can do this. So we all have to look inside. What is it that I can do? And then develop it. And then lastly, look for a mentor. It's important. We need mentorship. A lot of our youth, we need mentorship. It's important. You know, when you have a good mentor, you are sure of a bright future.
Of course. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Gbenga, for being on the show.
Pleasure, so much.
And I'm sure our people out there have been able to, you know, get one or two, you know, teaser on how to get employed. It mustn't be a white collar job.
No, it mustn't be.
Yes.
It mustn't be.
Let your ears be on the ground. Just try and get the right information, and I bet you'll be totally employed. And don't be surprised if you become an employer of labor yourself. Okay, I remember for Lashade Famakiwa. I urge you to join me same time, same station next week for another bumper package, as we'll be looking at another topical issue. Until then, bye for now.